Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Top 5 Wednesday. The topic for this week is books that you didn't get around to in 2017. So all 5 of the books I'm going to talk about in this video I kind of vaguely had plans to read last year, and then for whatever reason I just didn't get around to them. Either I got distracted by other books or I just wasn't in the right mood to pick these books up. But I really want to get to all 5 of these books / series at some point in 2018. So the first one I want to talk about is Cress by Marissa Meyer, and this is the 3rd book in the Lunar Chronicles series. I actually read the first 2 books in this series, Cinder and Scarlet, at the start of last year, and I really enjoyed them. They're very quirky, very fun YA sci-fi fairy tale retellings. The first one is a retelling of Cinderella, the second one is a retelling of Red Riding Hood, this one is a retelling of Rapunzel, and the last book is a retelling of Snow White, and they all interlink in some way. I do remember most of the events of the first 2 books, so I don't think I'll need to reread them before I get into Cress, and I don't own any of the companion novellas to this series, so I think I'll just pick those up as I go along. I've heard from a lot of people that this is their favourite in the series, so I'm really excited to get on with Cress hopefully at some point this year and really enjoy it, and hopefully complete the Lunar Chronicles too. So yeah, really excited for this one. The next one I want to talk about is A Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead, and I think the reason why I haven't picked this series up yet is because I'm a little bit reluctant to, because my last experience with YA vampires was Twilight, and you guys know how I feel about that book, so I think I've just been a little bit nervous to get back into another YA vampire series, but I've heard that this one is pretty good, so I am willing to give them another shot through this series. So hopefully I will be picking this first book up at some point this year. So yeah, hopefully I will enjoy this a little bit more than I enjoyed Twilight. The next one I want to talk about is Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, and I've heard this compared to a YA Game of Thrones, and I am a massive Game of Thrones fan, and I'm really interested to see how it would translate for a YA audience. This first book in the series is actually the only one that I own, but I know there are quite a few books out. I don't think it's a complete series yet, but I think if I like this first one I will just pick those up as I go along. But I've always been really intrigued by this series, so hopefully I will be able to start it at some point this year. The next one I want to talk about is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, and this is the first book in her very hyped Mortal Instruments series, and this first book is actually the only Mortal Instruments book that I own. I do actually own all 3 of the Infernal Devices trilogy, which I know interlinks with the Mortal Instruments series in some way. I do want to read them in publication order though, because I just think that that's probably the best way of reading them and getting the best experience from those interlinked series. So I will be starting with City of Bones at some point, and I'm thinking maybe I might do like a Cassandra Clare summer kind of thing if I like this book, which I think I will, because all I know about it really is Demon Hunters in New York, which basically sounds exactly right up my street. So I think I'll like it, and then obviously if I do like it I will pick up the other books and maybe do like a Cassandra Clare summer kind of thing. So yeah, because I really want to start getting through her books, because I've heard amazing things about them and they do sound like my kind of thing just from what I initially know about them. So yeah, really excited to get into some Cassandra Clare this year. And the last one I want to talk about is another book that I'm really nervous to read actually, and that is In the Afterlight by Alexandra Bracken. This is the 3rd book in her Darkest Minds trilogy, although I think I did recently hear that she's bringing out another book. I don't know whether it's a companion or maybe a direct sequel to In the Afterlight. I don't know. I will look into that probably after I've read this book. But I absolutely love the first 2 books in this series, and I'm really hugely attached to Liam in this trilogy, and the reason why I haven't picked this book up is because I'm really scared for him. Obviously with this being a YA dystopian series, I really don't want anything bad to happen to him, but I really want to finally read it this year and just rip that plaster off and just see exactly how this series wraps up. So yeah, really excited to get into this at some point this year too. And that is it for this week's Top 5 Wednesday. What are some books that you meant to read last year and just didn't get around to? Please let me know. I will leave all of my social media in the description down below. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye bye.